Alright guys, check this one out. This is a 1982 Kawasaki Kx 125. You can see the VIN, 10th letter up, 1, 2, 3, is a C. So right there, that lines up with 1982. You can see this thing is in very, very rough condition. I'm gonna quick do a close-up shot of each piece of this bike. The rim is broken right there. Close-up of everything. Look at the fender, all faded. Gas tank, it's got like mold growing on it, kind of faded. The frame looks like it was silver at one point and then painted green. You can see. Coming down here, the engine's got a lot of corrosion going on. Definitely been sitting outside for a while. Does have everything with the bike. The seat's actually pretty nice on it. Back fender's not too bad. Missing the air filter. At least there's no mouse living in there. That's good. Carburetor on it. Looks like an aftermarket carb. I'm not sure what brand that is. Yeah, it's just an aftermarket junk carb. Compression. Sounds a little crunchy in there. You can hear it kind of crunch. So, before I kick it over too much, we're going to put some lubrication down the spark plug hole. I don't think there's any coolant in this thing. Yeah, no coolant in there. Chain and sprockets don't look too bad though. Just a little rusty. Front sprocket's fine. Looks like some wiring was done to this thing. I'm not sure what this big chunk is right here. I'm sure it probably doesn't have spark. But we'll have to see. I don't know if that was like for a battery, for charging, or what. But you can see how bad that is in there. Just really, really crappy. Looks like there might have been a leak down here at one point. But yeah, so the story on this is I picked it up with a four-wheeler. I got this one for 650 bucks. Comes with a new front wheel right here. This was in an eBay package when I bought it. So that wheel alone is probably $100-something. And then it came with a air filter and all the plastics for it. So brand new air filter. I think it's got the stock carb right there. So we do have all the parts to make it complete, which is basically why I bought it. Otherwise I wouldn't have bought it because the plastics for this thing are very, very hard to find. So without the plastics, it's kind of an incomplete bike, but since we have them, I figured why not try to tackle this one and get it running. So the seller said that it last ran about 2 years ago. He said when he bought it 2 years ago. He bought it from a guy, and the guy started it up for a brief second, and then turned it off, and then the guy bought it, and then let it sit on the side of his garage for like 2 years. It was a project for his son, but his son didn't want to work on it. He bought a couple parts, like I said, on eBay for it, but then it just sat there, and nobody did anything with it. They said they did replace one gasket right here for the water pump, but they said it was still leaking. I think they ripped the gasket right here on the bottom. You can see where they ripped it. You can kind of see where they ripped it down there. Right here. So that's probably why that's still leaking. But yeah, today we are going to try to attempt to get this thing to run. I'm guessing it needs everything gone through. I guess we'll start by probably taking out the spark plug and checking for spark, because that's probably the main thing. And looking at the wiring, it looks pretty janky on here, not gonna lie. So I don't know, hopefully we have spark. And then we'll take a look at the spark plug too, see how it was running. And look at the corrosion on the head and everything. It's not looking too good. There we go. bet the piston rings are stuck to the piston. For sure. That's what it feels like kicking it over. You can see the corrosion and rust forming on the tip of the spark plug. That's not a good sign. That's probably what the piston looks like in there. This thing was just sitting outside, so I'm wondering if water made its way down into the cylinder here. But we're going to put a little penetrating oil down there. See if we can save it. Looks like the piston's right at the top right now. Kick it over a couple times and keep on adding oil to it. I mean, it doesn't sound horrible. See if we've got compression here. Put my thumb over it. Yeah, it pops off. It's got compression. Sounding a little bit more smooth in there now. Get a little oil down there. Try to save that piston cylinder. Uh-oh, moment of truth. Does she have spark? This should be good. Doesn't look like the spark plug boot. Huh, it's like missing the prong. There's really no metal surrounding it. That's weird. See how it doesn't click in? We'll just test her out, see what happens. Alright, what do you guys think? Let's see. Oh yeah! Oh yeah. Good spark. That was lucky. Alright. We're one step there. We've got spark. Let's get the compression tester in there and check for compression. I'm curious to see what that's at. Right, we've got the tester here. So this is a Mighty-Vac. You can see right there. The compression tester I use, it's the Mighty-Vac one on Amazon. I'll try to leave a link in the description for you guys. Or if I forget, just message me and I'll give you the link for that. But this one works really well. I've had this for like 2 years now and it's worked great. So I always use that one. Comes with all the attachments as well. So pretty nice. Alright, let's get this guy going in. There we go. Alright, write your predictions down below. I'm guessing like 110, which would be a little bit low for this. I just think that because I feel like the rings are sticking. Alright, let's see what happens. Throttle open. One more big one. Where are we at? Oh yeah, That's really good compression. 170. Woohoo! That's awesome. There's no way the rings are stuck to the piston with 170. So that's really good. Pretty happy with that. So we got compression, got spark. Let's try working on this carburetor next. Sitting right here. Get that out of there. And see if we can clean that up. I'm guessing, because it's been sitting for 2 years, that it's a little gunked up. So I have to check the gas flow. Oh, yeah, the petcock right here. Alright. Let's see here. Take this line off first. It's not hardened up too bad. Break it off though. We'll see which way is on and off here. Gas line's on. Alright, no gas coming out. Let's see if we move it. Still no gas coming out. I don't think there's any gas in the gas tank. Let's get some gas down there. Alright, we've got gas down there now. Let's see what happens when we turn it on. Oh yeah. Good gas flow. That's good. Well, that is working. No leaking out of the petcock at all. Carburetor out. It's kind of butting up to the frame right there. Oh, it's something. This is made in Mexico. That's what that looks like. You guys recognize what that says? It's just ER at the end of it. Electrol Mexico 8720. That's what's on there. Let me know what this is in the comments. I'm guessing it's to run lights. How the heck are you supposed to get this thing out? There we go. That is a tight fit. Let's see what that looks like. Needle looks good. Alright, there it is. I'm trying to see a logo on it. Nothing. Just an aftermarket one. Usually it would be Keihin right here or right there. There's no logo, so definitely aftermarket. Let's rip it apart, see what's inside. Alright, so far it looks like the carburetor had gas in it, but it looks like it was mixed with water as well. So that was not good. So it's a good thing we're taking this thing apart. You can see right there, there's water in it. You can just instantly tell. There we go. That's weird. Actually looks pretty clean. But look at the water that was in it. This is water. That's not gas. See what makes those droplets? Gas is this stuff right here, soaked right in. So oil and water don't mix, that's why you see it on the outside. Let's a look inside the carburetor here. Right away you can see that the main jet was clogged by something. Looks like old gas or something in there. No gas or water in the float. Still, that does not feel that rubbery actually. Oh yeah, still rubber. Let's see what we got for main jet in there. Looks like it is unmarked. I love it when they put unmarked jets in. Yeah, no marking on that jet. Usually the aftermarket ones don't have any markings on it. Again, no marking on the pilot. And that is definitely clogged. So pilot jet was clogged, wouldn't have started if we didn't clean this thing out. Alright, what is the air screw at? Three-quarters of a turn. There's that with the spring. Alright, this one's pretty clean already. We're just going to blow it out with some compressed air and spray some carb cleaner in there. You can see it's a little dirty, but not too bad. Alright, let's try to get the reeds out, see what those look like. Alright, let's take the boot off of here. Doesn't look like any cracks in the boot. That's good. Alright, let's see what the reeds look like. A little gunk on them, but pretty sure those are going to open and close just fine. Yep, no gaps in there. We'll just blow that out with an air compressor. A little gunk. Not horrible. Alright, we got the carburetor and the reeds back on. Unfortunately, this boot is just a little bit too small to fit on the end of that carburetor. So, I don't know what we're going to do about that, but it doesn't pay to put the air filter on if the boot doesn't fit. So, we're going to have to try to figure that out. But in the meantime, let's try to start this thing up. We don't have any cooling in it right now. We're just going to start it for a little bit, if it does start, and then run it for a little bit and just see what it sounds like. I don't know if the crank is good or not in this thing, but we'll find out soon enough. So we mixed some 40 to 1 up. Let's get that added and attempt to start it. Alright, here we go. We got gas going to it. Let's see what happens. There is a pinhole in the gas line. We gotta fix that first. Alright, we got new gas line on it. Let's see if it works now. like it runs strong. That's awesome. Alright, so before we go any further with it, we've got to get the coolant to stop leaking from right there. So we got to take off this little guy. Alright, so the gasket around there must be ripped. So let's get this guy off and see if we can repair that. Coolant might come out of here. Not sure. Alright, should come off. There we go. I don't want to rip this gasket. Color still feels good. Look at a zoom up close up of that. So impeller still looks good. Still moving, still tight on there. You can see where the gasket ripped right there. So what we're gonna do, take this off, put a little bit of that gasket maker on there. And then see if we can repair that. For a double layer. And we're just doing this because we don't have another gasket right now. So we'll look for another gasket online and replace it, but this is just for the time being. Testing purposes. Alright, while we're waiting for that to dry, let's drain the oil out of this thing. Let's see if we can see the bolt for it underneath here. And there it is right there. So let's get that out of there and see how bad this oil is. Yep, 14. And there's no oil in it. Holy cow. One single drop of oil came out. Jeez. Probably should have checked that first. Thought for sure there'd be at least some oil in there. Holy cow. That's crazy. Alright, well, I guess that makes it easy. We'll just add some oil to it. This thing takes 0.6 liters, so 600 milliliters. And I think I found the reason why I had no oil. The crush washer, or gasket I should say, was ripped right here. that was ripped like that. So we'll get a new one of those on, and hopefully that'll prevent it from leaking. Like I said before, 0.6 liters, so 600 milliliters. Let's see here. See where we're at. A little bit more. Perfect. Alright, oil change is done. Now we have some oil in there at least. Alright, here's the air filter we have for the cage right here. Let's just oil this thing up and install that, even though the boot for the air filter doesn't really fit. At least we'll have it on there for when it does. Let's just kind of spray this around. Kind of work that in. Alright, let's put that around there. Take that guy out. Alright, then what I like to do is put grease around this so that it seals to the inside of the air box. Alright, then we can install it. Alright, get your screw through here. Alright, that looks good. Alright, so the front wheel has a big crack in it right here. You can see. It goes all the way to like that point right there. So we got a new wheel for it. Let's get that thrown on there. Right here. This one, the tire is okay on it. It's not perfect, but it's better than the one that's on it. And this one is the exact match. So let's throw that on next. Just held on by 10mm nuts here. Must have been re-tapped for that. Alright, old wheel off. New one coming on. Alright, front wheel is on, all good to go. We got all the plastics on. It still looks really, really rough. We're going to try to take a green pad and go over the tank, see if we can get that stuff off. This side looks a little bit better. Painted up the pipe. This is definitely the good side of the bike. But we'll take off some of the stickers and try to make it look a little bit cleaner. But man, it's pretty rough. It just looks like it's been sitting outside forever, and I don't know what this stuff is on here. I don't know if it's paint or what. We'll try to strip it off, but I don't know if it's gonna come off. And this stuff, hopefully it comes off too. Alright, green pad, WD-40. See if we can take off some of this stuff. It's like mold. Taking off some of it. Not all of it. Definitely looking better though. Alright, that's cleaning up pretty good. We'll work at that for a bit, come back, see what it looks like. Alright, tank looks a little bit better. Obviously not perfect. It's never going to be perfect again. Unless you like wet sand it. But looks good from this side. Looks better, I should say. Doesn't look great. I'm just going to leave the stickers on there. If I take them off, you're going to have this, where it's showing all the little specks of good green. So we're going to keep the stickers on. Usually I take them off, but it kind of looks cool with them on. I think it would look worse without them, honestly. So, alright, time to check to see if the coolant leaks. Let's get some coolant going through here and see if our repair held up here. Let's just check and make sure that the gasket maker's dry. Oh yeah, it's nice and dry. Even leaking? No leaking yet. Let's try starting her up again. Alright, we've got no leaking out of here, which is good. So that was fixed. That's awesome. Alright, just want to quick check and see if the oil's milky after adding that coolant to it. If it is, that means the water pump seal's bad. You can see it's perfectly clear. One more dip. Perfectly clear. So, water pump seal's holding up, surprisingly. Cannot believe that. I think this thing is as good as it's gonna get at this point, so let's go test drive it and see if she moves. Alright, it's really windy out today. I can barely use my main camera because it just picks up on wind. But so far so good. It's running good. Running really good. It may be a tad lean, but I think that's because the air filter's kind of off of it, you know. But otherwise, it's going pretty good. So let's take her for the first ride. See how she does. I'm really surprised, but the clutch is working right now. Starts first kick every time too, even cold. really sounding good. Look at that. Clutch is working. It's got a lot of pep to it for a 125. She's fast. Back brake isn't working too great. You have to really stomp on it. This is running a lot better than I thought it would. Clutch might be slipping a little bit. Probably from sitting for so long. Not too bad though. I don't want to run it too much longer. It's a little bit lean without that air filter. Yeah, she runs good. All the brakes work. Shifts smoothly. Idle's okay. Alright, we're at the storage unit here, and we just got done riding the Kx 125 from 1982. The ride went really well. The clutch was slipping a little bit, but I think that's going to get better with time, or I could just take it apart and get those plates unstuck. But yeah, I haven't decided if I'm going to keep it or not. It's a pretty decent bike besides the plastics. Runs strong, idle's pretty good. I'd like to get the original carburetor back for it so that the boot fits for the air filter. But other than that, it's a good bike, and for 650 bucks, can't really complain. So anyway guys, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next video. Here's a little look of the storage unit here. We've got a couple machines and more projects to come. Stay tuned for next one, and until next time, we are out.